what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the submission of an eCSE proposal in the SAFE. This is one that I put in earlier. It's quite obviously a demo, a sort of dummy proposal, but you can see hopefully how it works. So what I've done here is you can see on the screen hopefully that I've already logged into the SAFE. The SAFE may look different to you depending on whether you're coming in from the Archer SAFE or where you're coming in from, but functionally it should be as you'll see here. And also because I have various different roles in the SAFE, so my menus might look slightly different from yours, but it's basically this should be how it works. So first thing you'll do is you'll log on to the SAFE, and then what you do is you'll go to the top and click on eCSE funding, and there you can see click on funding calls, and there we have a button for you to click new application. You can see the eCSE 03 call is open, some text for you to read, and then you press the create button. And then what you need to do is put in the title, select the appropriate funding call. There's only one option at the moment, so I'm just going to call it eCSE demo. I'm going to create that. And then we get to the form itself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit. You can edit these things in sections. So I'm going to edit the first section. So I'm going to say so I'm just making one up here. I'm going to say it's chemistry and materials, research area, but it's obviously going to be EPSRC. So at that point, you can select EPSRC, NERC, or both. I mean, most cases, we would expect that it will be one or the other. There may be some, if there's really significant components of both, you might say both. But if it's really the vast majority of it is one or the other, then just select one or the other. And then what you then have is a box. If you've put other there, you need to describe it. And then there's another box where you give a short summary of the project. And that what you should do there is that summary there should give enough description that you can that somebody can see why it's, for example, within EPSRC, or why it's within NERC, or why it's both, as that is looked at by the reviewers too. I should add, yeah, sorry, the other box there is if you've selected other in the subject area, so you can describe more. Okay, so then we update that. We then go to the next section, the project details. So I'm going to say, okay, materials and chemistry. So what you can do here is select any consortia or a particular consortium that your project is most aligned to. It may be none, so you can leave that blank if it's none, if you're not involved in a particular consortium. And then there's a couple of questions about whether it's a resubmission or whether it's a follow-on project. So I'm just going to leave those for now. And I'm going to go down to the next section, and I'm going to choose a principal investigator. So what I could do is I could click on the Add PI button here. And what I could do then is I could enter the name, the email address of the PI. And what you should do here is use the email address that PI uses in the SAFE, or if they're not signed up to the SAFE yet, the one that they would use. So please check with them. And then if you click create, then it will email them and ask them to join the project. Of course, it's often the PI, him or herself, who's putting in the proposal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel that, and I'm just going to make myself the PI. It often will be the PI who's doing it. So I'm going to keep things simple. So I've just made myself the PI. So now you can see me there as PI. And then what you could do is you could add co-Is if you wanted, and again you can add them. It will then send an invitation to them, and you can add members if you need other people to see the proposal. And then I'm going to add technical staff, and usually that would be someone else. Typically the PI would not be doing technical work, but what I'm going to do here to keep things simple is I'm just going to add myself as a technical member of staff. That'd be a slightly odd thing to do, but it's just to show you for this demo. So that so you put the role of the staff there. They can add that themselves too. I'm just going to say this starts on, say, 1st of June, just for the start date. I'm going to give the technical effort level. So I'm going to say I'm going to put 6 person months in to the project. And then what you would do here is put in a costing for those 6 months. I'm just going to put in a nice round number, so I'm going to say 50,000 just to keep it simple. And that's what you would typically do. I'm going to delete that because actually, because I'm an EPCC member of staff, I already have the costing. So I'm just going to tick that box at the bottom which says, because I'm EPCC, I don't need the costing. Then in here, you should put in any existing funding that you have, anything that you would be working on at the same time as the eCSE work. And that's important to know, so we know how, what other things the member of staff will be doing there. And so I'm going to put myself in at the bottom there as the member of technical staff. Then I'm going to edit. Oh yes, I'm going to say the project starts on 1st of June. And I'm going to say it's 12 months. So I said I put in 6 person months here, so obviously I'm going to be working at 50%. So that's where that existing funding comes in, because it explains what else I'd be working on at the same time, so the panel can judge how well that's going to work. So then I'm going to put in stuff about the code. So I'm going to say this is working on CASTEP, just a fairly well-used code. I'm just going to put in some numbers. It's important that we know how many people use this code as much as possible. These can be estimates. So what I did was I looked up on the ARCHER website, I looked at the previous month just to see how much CASTEP was used. My information here may be a little out of date here. But I said 1 month showed 13 users, so I got that from the ARCHER website. You can obviously put in a bit more text here than I am, but I'm just being brief to go through it. Then how did I get the global number of users? Well, I looked that up online a little while ago, and found how many users there apparently are for CASTEP worldwide. So that was 150 user groups at the time that I looked at this a little while ago. And then I'm going to say, well, what percentage of the users will benefit from my improvements? I'm going to say 5% there. So you can think about that a bit more. And then what you should do there is explain in that box, which, sorry, I'm just covering up slightly there, explain in that box there any existing funding for the code. So that's to make sure, obviously, that the work isn't already being funded, but also just to put things in context to show what other work is being done to the codes at the same time. So do fill that in. So we're not far off now. So then what I'm going to do is fill in the area of work and just say what kind of work this is. So I'm going to say this is focusing on performance improvements, but you tick as many of those boxes as you need, or if other, then you fill that in. Training and support, I'm going to keep this simple and say none. Travel, well, I don't think I'll be going anywhere for a little while, so I'm going to put in none there just to keep things simple, and 0 there. Then I need to add some documents, so I need to add the proposal document. So I've got some dummy ones here. So there we go, I've added the proposal document. Then I got my completed technical evaluation done by the help desk. So you'll see that submit this application at the bottom is grayed out at the moment. That's because I haven't added these documents yet, so I can't submit. So then I've got a letter of support from, in this case, a made-up person. So I'm going to add that. Now, there's still a couple more things that I need to add because I added technical staff, and in this slightly odd situation here, I added myself as technical staff, but I need to edit that because I need to add my CV. So I'm going to add that there. And my costings. So update there. And now I should be ready to submit. So I can click on submit this application. And yes, and then you'll see that it appears there.